My grandmother left me her house instead of my parents, and now my entire family is demanding I do the right thing and sign it over. I just found out why she really did it. I received the call from my grandmother's lawyer on a Tuesday morning while I was teaching my fourth period English class. I stepped into the hallway, expecting to hear about funeral arrangements or maybe a small keepsake she'd left me. Instead, the lawyer told me something that would destroy my family. Your grandmother's will has been executed, and you are now the sole owner of her property at 847 Maple Drive, along with all contents and accompanying assets. That was 3 weeks ago. I haven't had a peaceful moment since. But what my family doesn't know, what I just discovered yesterday, changes everything. And I don't know what to do with this information. The background. I'm 26F, and my grandmother Eleanor was my best friend. We weren't just close. We were inseparable. After my grandfather died when I was 8, I started spending every weekend at her house. We'd bake together, garden together, watch old movies, and talk about everything. While my parents were busy with their lives and my older sister Vanessa, 32F, was always off doing her own thing, Grandma Ellie was my constant. The house on Maple Drive isn't a mansion, but it's beautiful. A 1920s craftsman-style home with 4 bedrooms, original hardwood floors, a wraparound porch, and the most incredible garden you've ever seen. Grandma Ellie and Grandpa John bought it in 1968 for $23,000. It's now worth approximately $890,000 because it's in a neighborhood that gentrified over the last decade. The house is paid off, in excellent condition, and sits on a double lot. My parents, Robert, 59M, and Linda, 57F, have always assumed they'd inherit it. They've talked about it openly for years. When we get Mom's house, we'll finally be able to retire early. Or the house will set us up for our golden years. They've never been subtle about it. Vanessa also expected a piece of it. She's married to Craig, 34M, and they have 2 kids. They've been living in a cramped condo and have been planning to move into Grandma's house or sell it and split the money.
Me?
I never thought about the inheritance. I visited Grandma because I loved her, not because I wanted something from her. I have a tiny 1-bedroom apartment I rent for $1,400 a month, a teaching salary of $52,000 a year, and student loans I'll be paying until I'm 45. I'm not struggling, but I'm not comfortable either. Grandma Ellie passed away 4 weeks ago from heart failure. She was 84. I was with her when she died, holding her hand in the hospital. Her last words to me were, "You're going to be just fine, sweetheart. Better than fine. Don't let them make you feel guilty." At the time, I thought she was being encouraging. I had no idea what was coming. The reading of the will. The lawyer, Martin Chen, called me separately before the family meeting. That should have been my first clue. "Miss Peterson, I wanted to speak with you privately before we meet with your family. Your grandmother left very specific instructions, and I want you to be prepared for their reaction." Okay. My heart was pounding. Your grandmother has left you the house at 847 Maple Drive, all of its contents, her car, and the entirety of her savings account, which currently holds $127,000. Your parents and sister have been left personal items only, specifically photo albums, some jewelry, and sentimental objects. No property and no cash assets. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so absurd. There must be a mistake. Grandma wouldn't. There's no mistake. I drew up this will myself 3 years ago, and your grandmother was very clear and very determined. She was of completely sound mind. I have documentation to prove it.
But why?
Why would she do this? She left you a letter. I'll give it to you after the family meeting. She wanted you to read it privately. The family meeting was a nightmare. My parents arrived dressed in black, trying to look somber, but clearly distracted. Vanessa kept checking her phone and whispering to Craig about square footage and resale values. They all assumed they knew what was coming. Martin read through the will in his lawyer voice, and I watched my family's faces change as they realized what was happening. To my granddaughter, Charlotte and Peterson, I leave my home at 847 Maple Drive, my 2019 Honda CR-V, all contents of my home, and the entirety of my savings account. My mother gasped.
What?
To be used as she sees fit, without obligation or interference from other family members. This is insane, my father said, standing up. There's obviously been a mistake. Mom wouldn't have done this. She was probably confused, not in her right mind. I assure you, Mr. Peterson, your mother was completely lucid and very deliberate. I have 3 years of documentation and witnesses to her mental state. Vanessa was staring at me like I'd stab her. You did this. You manipulated her. You spent all that time with her just to steal her house. I didn't know, I said, my voice shaking. I had no idea. Bullshit, Craig muttered. My mother started crying. How could she do this? After everything we did for her? We took care of her. We visited her. You visited her twice a year, I said quietly. Christmas and her birthday. We were busy. We had lives. You're a teacher. You have summers off. Of course you had more time. I visited her because I wanted to, not because I was counting on an inheritance. The meeting dissolved into chaos. My father demanded we contest the will. Martin calmly explained that Grandma had anticipated this and had made the will contestation-proof, with multiple witnesses, mental competency evaluations, and video recordings of her stating her wishes. My family left without saying goodbye to me. I sat in Martin's office, shaking, while he handed me a sealed envelope. Read this at home, he said gently. Alone. The letter. I sat in my apartment that night with the letter in my hands for 20 minutes before I could open it. Grandma's handwriting was on the envelope. For Charlotte, the truth you deserve to know. The letter was 8 pages long, handwritten on her favorite stationery with the little violets in the corner. My dearest Charlotte, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I imagine your parents and sister are very angry with you. I'm sorry for that, truly. But I'm not sorry for what I've done. I need to tell you why I left you everything. You deserve to know the truth, even though it will hurt. Especially because it will hurt. Your parents have been stealing from me for the last 15 years. I stopped breathing. I read the sentence again. And again. It started small. Your father had some business troubles in 2009. The recession hit his company hard. He asked to borrow $10,000. I gave it to him, expecting he'd pay it back. He never did. Then there was another loan in 2011, and another in 2013. Your mother needed money for Vanessa's wedding in 2014. By 2016, I'd given them over $200,000. I never told you because I didn't want to burden you. You were in college, working so hard, taking out loans while your parents kept asking me for money. Money I would have given to you if I'd known you needed it. But it got worse, Charlotte. Much worse. 3 years ago, I discovered that your father had been forging my signature. He had access to one of my accounts. I'd added him as a backup when I had my hip surgery, remember? Just in case something happened to me. He was supposed to help me pay bills if I couldn't. Instead, he'd been transferring money to himself. Thousands of dollars over years. When I confronted him, he broke down and confessed. He said they were in debt, that Vanessa needed help with her mortgage, that they'd made bad investments. He begged me not to go to the police.
He's my son, Charlotte.
What was I supposed to do? I told him I wouldn't press charges, but I wanted the money back. He promised he'd pay me back. He never did. Not a single dollar. I removed him from all my accounts that day. I changed all my passwords, moved most of my money into accounts he didn't know about, and I started working with Martin to make sure that when I died, your parents wouldn't get the chance to take anything else from this family. Your sister knew. Vanessa knew what your father was doing. She asked me directly to help your parents and not make trouble for them. She said families should protect each other. What she meant was that I should let them steal from me and stay quiet about it. You're the only one who never asked me for anything. You're the only one who visited me because you loved me, not because you wanted something. You're the only one I can trust. The house is yours. The money is yours. Please don't give it to them. Please don't let them guilt you into handing over what I worked my entire life to build. Use this to pay off your student loans. Use it to build a life. Use it to be free from financial stress the way I wish I could have been at your age. Get your master's degree if you want. Travel. Live in the house or sell it, I don't care. It's yours to do with as you wish. But please, please don't give it to people who saw me as a bank account instead of a person. I love you more than you'll ever know. You were the bright spot of my last years. Thank you for being the granddaughter who cared. All my love, Grandma Ellie. P.S. There's a shoebox in my bedroom closet, top shelf, behind the winter blankets. In it, you'll find bank statements, copies of forged checks, and documentation of every transfer. I kept records of everything, just in case you need proof. I threw up. Actually got up, ran to the bathroom, and threw up. My father had been stealing from his own mother for years, and my mother and sister had known. The demands begin. The next day, my mother called me 14 times. I didn't answer. She showed up at my apartment that evening. "We need to talk about this situation," she said, pushing past me into my living room. "You mean the situation where Dad stole from Grandma for years?" She froze.
She told you.
She left me a letter with documentation. Mom's face went white, then red. It wasn't stealing. We were family. She had money. We needed help. He forged her signature, Mom. That's literal theft. That's a crime. Don't you dare lecture me. We did what we had to do to survive. Your father's business was failing. We would have lost everything. So you decided to steal from an elderly woman instead? She was my mother-in-law. Family helps family. Family doesn't steal from family. We screamed at each other for 20 minutes. She cried. She begged. She tried to guilt me. She said they were going to lose their house. She said Vanessa's kids needed the money for college. She said I was young and didn't need a big house anyway. Finally, she said, "If you had any decency, you'd sign that house over to us. It's what your grandmother would have really wanted." Mom. She wrote an 8-page letter explaining exactly why she didn't want you to have it. She documented everything you did. She knew you'd try to manipulate me, and she begged me not to let you. She was sick and old and confused. She was perfectly healthy when she wrote the will 3 years ago, and she updated it every year to make sure it was current. She knew exactly what she was doing. My mother left, but not before telling me, "If you keep that house, you're not my daughter anymore. You're choosing money over family."
No, Mom.
You chose money over family years ago. I'm just choosing not to be your next victim. The family campaign. What followed was a coordinated assault designed to break me down. My father sent me a spreadsheet breaking down how they'd split the house value fairly. He'd given himself and Mom 50%, Vanessa 25%, and generously offered me 25% since you're the youngest and haven't contributed as much to the family. Vanessa created a group chat with extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, explaining that I'd stolen the inheritance through manipulation and was now refusing to share with my parents who desperately needed it. I started getting calls and messages from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. "Aunt Marie, your grandmother would be so disappointed in your selfishness." "Uncle Tom, family takes care of each other. This isn't what the Petersons do." "Cousin Jennifer, I heard you're keeping everything for yourself? That's pretty messed up, Charlotte." My father's brother, Uncle Paul, who I'd always liked, called me one evening. "Charlotte, I'm going to be honest with you. Your parents are in serious financial trouble. If they don't get money from the house, they might lose everything. Can you really live with yourself knowing you could have helped? Did they tell you they stole from Grandma for 15 years? Silence. Did they tell you Dad forged her checks? That she documented everything and changed her will specifically to keep them from getting more of her money? Your father said there were some misunderstandings about loans. They weren't loans, Uncle Paul. He stole from her. She has proof. Bank statements, everything." More silence. "Then, even if that's true, he's still your father. Are you really going to destroy your relationship with your entire family over money?" "I'm not the one who destroyed anything. They did that when they decided to steal from an elderly woman." He hung up, but his question haunted me. Was I really willing to lose my whole family over this? The pressure intensifies. Vanessa showed up at my school. She waited in the parking lot and cornered me after my last class. "We need to talk." sister to sister. I don't think we have anything to say to each other. Charlotte, please. Just hear me out.
She looked exhausted.
Craig and I have been living in that condo for 6 years. Our kids share a bedroom. We've been waiting for Grandma's house so we could finally give them proper space. We've been planning our whole future around it. You've been planning your future around someone else's property? It's not someone else's. It's family property. It was always supposed to go to all of us.
No, Vanessa.
You assumed it would. You all assumed you could keep taking from Grandma even after she died. God, when did you become so cold? The Charlotte I knew would never be this selfish. The Charlotte you knew didn't know her family had been stealing from her grandmother. That Charlotte didn't know her sister helped cover it up. Vanessa's face hardened. If you don't share that house, I'll make sure your whole family knows what kind of person you really are. Every aunt, uncle, cousin. I'll tell them you manipulated a dying old woman, that you isolated her from her real family, that you're a greedy, heartless bitch who... She left me a letter, Vanessa. She explained everything. She told me you knew about Dad's theft and asked her to let it go. She told me you've been asking her for money too. Should I share that information with the family? She went pale. You wouldn't. I don't want to. But if you keep spreading lies about me, I'll defend myself with the truth. She got back in her car and peeled out of the parking lot. The breaking point. 2 weeks after the will reading, my parents stopped by the house on Maple Drive. I'd been spending weekends there, slowly going through Grandma's things, crying in every room as I remembered our time together. I'd found the shoebox. She wasn't exaggerating. She had everything. Bank statements showing transfers from her account to my father's. Copies of checks with signatures that didn't quite match hers. A journal where she'd documented every time she'd asked for the money back and been given excuses. It was methodical, careful, and heartbreaking. When I heard a key in a lock, I thought I'd forgotten to lock the door. But then I heard my father's voice. Hello? Anyone here? They still had a key.
Of course they did.
I came down the stairs to find both my parents standing in the living room like they owned the place. You need to leave, I said. This is still our mother's house, Dad said. We have every right to be here. No, you don't. This is my house. I'm changing the locks tomorrow. Charlotte, please, Mom said. Can we just talk? Really talk. Against my better judgment, I sat down. They sat across from me on Grandma's couch. We know you found out about the money, Dad said. And we know Mom painted it in the worst possible light. She showed me bank statements. She showed me forged checks. I never forged anything. Dad, stop. I saw them. I saw the signature comparisons. I'm not stupid. He looked at the floor. Things were complicated. The business was failing. We had debts. Your mother's medical bills. Mom's medical bills? I looked at my mother. What medical bills? Mom shifted uncomfortably. I had some procedures a few years ago. She had a tummy tuck and Botox, Dad said bitterly. That's the medical emergency we needed money for. The room went silent. You stole from your mother to pay for cosmetic surgery? I said to my mom. It wasn't like that.
Then what was it like? Explain it to me.
Make it make sense. Neither of them could look at me. We made mistakes, Dad finally said. We made a lot of mistakes. But we're still your parents. And we need this house. Charlotte, we will lose everything if we don't get money from this property. We've already remortgaged our house twice. We're in over our heads. This is our only way out. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you stole from Grandma. For God's sake, she had plenty. She didn't need all that money. It was her money, Dad. She worked for it. She and Grandpa saved for 50 years. And you stole it. You stole from your own mother. You lied to her, and now you want me to reward you for it by giving you even more? We're your parents, Mom said, crying now. Don't we mean anything to you? Are you really going to choose a dead woman over your living family? Something inside me snapped. That dead woman loved me more than you ever have. She spent time with me. She asked about my life. She celebrated my achievements. When I graduated college, she was the one who took me to dinner, not you. When I got my teaching job, she was the one who bought me champagne, not you. When I had the flu last year, she was the one who brought me soup, not you. We were busy. You're always busy. But you weren't too busy to ask Grandma for money. You weren't too busy to steal from her. You just weren't interested in me unless I could do something for you. That's not fair, Dad said. What's not fair is that I spent my whole life trying to earn your attention while you were bleeding Grandma dry. What's not fair is that I have $60,000 in student loans because you told me you couldn't help with college while you were stealing hundreds of thousands from your own mother. What's not fair is that I'm the villain in this story when I'm the only one who actually cared about her.
I was screaming by the end.
They were both crying. If you keep the house, Dad said quietly, we're done. You won't have parents anymore. We'll cut you off completely. You've never really been my parents. You've been strangers who showed up to major life events and expected credit for the bare minimum. So go ahead. Cut me off. I survived 26 years of your neglect. I'll survive without you completely. They left. I changed all the locks that night. The discovery. A week later, I was going through Grandma's desk and found another envelope with my name on it. Inside was a key and a note. Charlotte, if you're reading this, you've probably met with your parents by now. I imagine it didn't go well. There's something else you should know. In the basement, behind the old water heater, there's a safe. The key opens it. Inside, you'll find some things I thought you should have. Love, Grandma. I went to the basement with a flashlight. Behind the water heater, covered by an old tarp, was a small safe built into the wall. Inside was $50,000 in cash, a stack of savings bonds in my name worth approximately $75,000, and another letter. Charlotte, this is money I've been setting aside for you since you were born. Every birthday, every Christmas, every time you accomplish something, I put money away for you. I couldn't give it to you openly because your parents would have demanded I give them equal amounts for Vanessa, and I knew it would just disappear into their debts. This money is truly yours. It was always meant for you. Use it wisely. Use it for your dreams. I'm so proud of the woman you've become. Love always. Grandma Ellie. I sat on the basement floor and sobbed. All those years, she'd been quietly building something for me while my parents were taking everything they could get their hands on. Where I am now. I'm moving into Grandma's house next month. I'm using part of the money to pay off my student loans completely. I'm putting the rest in savings and investments. I'm going to keep Grandma's garden alive and maybe finally get the dog I've always wanted. My parents haven't spoken to me in 3 weeks. Vanessa sent me one last text. I hope you're happy with your blood money. You've destroyed this family. I blocked her. Extended family members are still reaching out occasionally, some supportive, most critical. I've stopped explaining myself. The people who matter know the truth. My best friend came over yesterday and said, your grandmother gave you something more valuable than a house. She gave you permission to stop setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Last night, I sat on Grandma's porch swing, my porch swing now, and watched the sunset. For the first time in weeks, I felt peace. My mother's words keep echoing. You're choosing money over family. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm choosing honesty over theft. I'm choosing self-respect over manipulation. I'm choosing a grandmother who loved me over parents who used me. And maybe, just maybe, I'm choosing the family I deserved over the family I got. Reddit, I'm not asking if I'm the asshole. I know my family thinks I am. Half the relatives think I am. Maybe some of you will think I am too. But I'm keeping the house. I'm keeping the money. And I'm keeping my dignity. If that makes me the asshole in their story, so be it. At least I'm the hero in my own. Update. To everyone asking if I went to the police about the theft, I'm still considering it. Grandma chose not to press charges because he was her son. I'm not sure if I want to be the person who puts her father in prison, even after everything. But I am considering consulting with a lawyer about my options, especially if they try to sue me for the property. Update 2. Several people have asked if I feel guilty. The honest answer is, sometimes. Late at night, I wonder if I'm being cruel, if I should help them despite what they did. Then I remember that the money they're demanding I give them is literally money my grandmother specifically saved to protect from them. And the guilt fades. Update 3. My dad's brother, Uncle Paul, called me yesterday. He said he did some digging and talked to my dad directly. He apologized for pressuring me. He said, "Your grandmother was a wise woman. She knew what she was doing. It's not much, but it's something."